Hey, so funny thing, we had somebody hop on tonight's group call, which actually worked out really great. And so it was some one-on-one time, and I didn't record it just for privacy purposes since it was just the two of us. But we ended up having a really good conversation that I wanted to relay to the whole group. And it was just easier to do a quick little video as opposed to typing out all of the things. But the conversation was really around kind of time management and when do you sit down and really block things? How do you block things? How do you put reminders? How do you not overwhelm yourself with a bunch of stuff, or constant notifications or just feeling like you're missing things all of the time? And then it kind of led into conversation around what time of day is best to do some habits. Is there any, structure to something? Is there an ideal time to do something for specific habits? And then the last part was really working on negative self-talk, which is something that I have been feeling a lot this week. So I thought I would give you guys some suggestions on where I have suggested. I'm going to pull up my calendar here for clients to start to kind of own your schedule. And it takes a little exercise at first to sit down, or a little, it's a moment to block some time to maybe just put some pen to paper. But once you do that, it kind of gives you a line of sight into what your week looks like. And then when you time block, like I'm going to show you in just a second, it gives you a visual, and then you're able to kind of prioritize some things. So the three categories that I don't know if anyone else came up with this, I feel like I'm the original one with it. But I categorize what you do every single day into three categories. The first category are the have tos. I have to take a shower. I have to go. I have to get sleep. I have to go to work. I have to make money. I have to go buy food. I have to eat. I have to go to the bathroom. Like, there are things on your schedule that you have to do. And so it's good to kind of write down and identify what those things are, because they take time out of your day. Now, we've got, obviously, time management is something we talk about. We have a video in our 7-day experience. I can share it in here too if anyone wants to catch David talking about how to optimize your time throughout the week. But you want to kind of get an idea of how much time on the have tos are you blocking? Like, is it a 15-minute shower? Is it how many times you go to the bathroom? If you really wanted to get like that specific, what are your hours at work, etc. And just kind of getting a line of sight into what are those the have to list. The second list is the want to list. What are the things that you want to do? Do you want to travel? Do you want to go out to eat? Do you want to chill and watch Netflix for a little bit? Do you want to eat a piece of chocolate or dessert? Like, kind of some of the fun things are in that category and still take some time. Sometimes the wants that we want to do, like hanging out on social media or watching TV or whatever, can also be compromising some of our goals. So we have to evaluate on those wants, when does it make sense to do those? Because we do want to include those things in our schedule. And then the last category is the need to category. And that's where I classify the need to as your health choices and your overall health and wellness and what you're in this program for in the first place. It's like, I need to work out, I need to walk, I need to sleep, I need to manage my stress, I need to track my food, like those kinds of things. So what I think is a really good exercise for people to do is to literally get to your calendar, like Google, for example. I think it's a great thing. And I color code the things that I kind of like, I've put in some things that I need to. And then if there's things that I want to, like maybe it's hanging out with friends or doing something like that, I will put that in there too. But this is pretty much a basic schedule of like, hey, I've blocked off time for my morning routine. I have a visual of how much I'm spending to kind of get ready for the day before I start my job, right? Then I've marked off my actual work day. What does that look like? And I've just color coded, like morning, I thought sunshine. And then day job, I thought money, The blues are usually when we have appointments, like whether you guys schedule something, it's usually a Calendly appointment or a Zoom appointment. And those are just kind of automatically colored into blue. And then I've got another job that I do. So I help my business coach, and I kind of classify her in the flamingo because her theme is pink anyways. And so I kind of, I don't have these like blocked where it says busy. I actually have it set as free, but I still have this visual of what time commitment is it for these specific things, just for me to know what my schedule is like. And then I do like the purples are our live, either our Facebook lives or these group coaching sessions. Like here's the Whip It Wednesday, here's the meal prep meetup. And then I've got our my virtual assistant appointment, and then of course holidays are in there. And then if I have things on the weekend, I add those too. And so I just recommend that you guys take the time to sit down and look at your schedule and do a visual like this. The first thing would be making that list of have to, wants tos, and need tos. And the next thing would be to go block some time just to give yourself a visual, and then put in things where you, as an appointment for what you want to do when you go grocery shopping, when you do meal prepping, when you want to take a walk. What does that look like, and where can you find that block of time to accomplish that said task? Then you have the option to either utilize Everfit, because we can set reminders, we can set habits, we can set tasks for you to check off. A lot of people have wanted to use Everfit kind of as their main habitual app reminder, which is great. That's what it's there for. Or you can download another app if you don't feel like you have too many apps in the world. Or you can just use the simple, like I know at least on iPhone, there's a reminder list that you can have reoccurring reminders, or you could set alarms on your phone. Like there's a couple of different ways to set reminders, and you can even set reminders in the calendar too, but I tend to keep the reminders separate, like for little to-do things, like go email this person A, B, or C or whatever, and I put that on a reminder just so I don't want to forget it. And the goal of doing this is so that you're having to, when you initially do it, it's taking away this excessive decision making that we have to do all of the time. It's so fatiguing. We have to make so many decisions throughout the day with our jobs, with our kids, with family. And so you're just trying to, remove that decision fatigue and have a visual for you just to go and execute. And then another thing, the next level would be after you kind of blocked your calendar, after you figured out where are some time blocks, where do I want to schedule A, B, or C? What about creating visuals around making sure you can do those? Like maybe that means you leave your vitamins out on the counter so you don't forget to take them. And yes, maybe it doesn't look very tidy. It's not very tidy, but it reminds me to take my vitamins. Maybe you have your water next to your bed as a reminder to start your day off with water. Maybe you have maybe the night before bed, you journal just to kind of, dump your thoughts into paper so that you can kind of empty your mind and relax and go to bed. And then maybe you write a little sticky note on the things that you have to do or some encouragement, and you put it on your bathroom mirror just as that first visual when you get up and brush your teeth, because you all should be getting up and brushing your teeth right away. Let's just be real here. Let's clear the bacteria before you drink some water and all of that. So, have those visuals, put things out where you can see them. That's why Mel Robbins talks about leaving her workout clothes next to her bed. So when she gets up, that's the first thing that she does. The next section I think that we talked about was, habits. Is there a certain time of day to do certain habits that are most optimal? Obviously, a night routine is going to be before night. But some habits that I think are good to start your day would be something like walking. That's a great way to kind of have your circadian rhythm kick in. If you can go outside and walk as the sun is rising or just as it's starting to get light out, it's helping your circadian rhythm. Don't wear sunglasses. Let those rays kind of come through. Even on cloudy days, there's still something, but a walk in the morning, I feel like, is a really powerful thing to check off. It gets your blood going. It can be healthy for your pets if you take your pet with you. And it's just, I also feel like when I've done walks in the morning, it's a little bit easier to kind of add walks throughout the day, especially when I've got a walking pad right behind me. So I've got another visual to remind me that, like, hey, even though it's 100 degrees outside, I still can go walk a little bit on my walking pad and hit my step goal. So living out those visuals, but also seeing with the habits, like what can you be most consistent with? What makes the most sense for you? Does it make sense to start your day with a walk and then do your workout in the afternoon? Does it make sense to do your workouts and then not worry too much about steps on the workout days, and then worry about and then do more steps on the non-workout days, just to kind of balance out some time? There's lots of ways to do that, because remember, we look at for overall step count like a weekly average, not a daily average. Same thing with calories. And those kinds of techniques are what you start to do. And if you have read Atomic Habits, another thing is to create a reward around those habits. So, for example, one of the things we talked about today was that another friend or coach, and then myself, like another coach from what we were talking about with the client that jumped on the call today, was that she saved her Netflix TV shows for when she walked on the treadmill. So the only time that she could binge watch shows is when she was walking on the treadmill. I have started to implement the same thing when it comes to reels. I do love to scan reels, not only for ideas and entertainment and sharing them back and forth with people, but I find that I can also scroll for reels while I'm doing nothing, and it can really backfire mentally too. So I've saved it for going and walking on the treadmill. Like that's my real time. So not only does it motivate me to walk on the walking pad, but it also like just gives me like I'm doing something somewhat productive instead of just sitting there and like letting hours pass by. Because we all know you can go down the rabbit hole and it can take you're like, oh my gosh, 2 hours is gone. That's crazy. So those kinds of things, like creating a reward around that said habit, like maybe when you hit your protein goal, you have some chocolate or dessert or something like that. You just kind of have to think about what reward can incentivize you. And then the last thing we talked about was how to stop the negative self-talk. Now, that is something that I have really struggled with myself, especially this last week or so, for some reason, just really down on myself. And the client that joined us today, like, she was catching herself doing that. And then was kind of like, okay, wait a second, I need to stop. This is not helping me. And was able to create awareness around that negative talk and flip the switch in her brain, which was fantastic. That's a huge win when you can redirect it and know that this negative self-talk doesn't do anything. And I'm going to recommend a book to you all that would be something that is I'm really, my business coach suggested to me. I can't remember the name, I can't remember the doctor, but I will post it in the caption. And he's a doctor of like talking about the brain. So when you know how the science behind your brain and your body and how things work, sometimes it can help explain why you do the things you do, why you think the way you do. And a lot of it was around, is around negative self-talk, for example, or how you see yourself or how you talk to yourself or just whatever. So I will post that. I know my business coach has it in her program. I'm going to go look for the name of the book. But I just thought that was a really rich conversation. It just kind of like just made me, I was like, oh, you just like filled my cup. This is such a great conversation, and wanted to share those little tips with you guys because I think I really do think these things are beneficial. And as we walked through that and navigated through that, she was digging it too. So I hope that you guys dig it and that you got some value out of this. I will also be uploading the meal plans for September by today or tomorrow. And I'm also going to reorganize a little bit the folders to make sure things are a little bit more accessible, to make sure that we're not giving you too many different things to click into. Of course, the Google Drive is still the easiest place for the meal plans and recipes and the Zoom replays, but definitely want to optimize those folders a little bit more on some additional information and some cool things I have coming through. So if you guys have any questions or need anything, I really appreciate, we're here, and I really appreciate the engagement tonight that kind of led to this impromptu little mini training. And that's what these are for. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. We're here if you need us. Love you, mean it.